Hello, 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 amigos. Welcome aboard. It's time for liftoff.
T-minus 10,
9,
8,
sing it.
7,
Go ahead, sing it.
5,
4, 3, 2,
2,
1.
1, 0.
Let's
Ignition.
make it musical today.
Liftoff.
Come on.
Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Get ready. Hold on to your hat. Strap on your seatbelt.
Come on.
Fasten your seatbelt. Hold on to your hat.
Get ready for the ride of your life.
The show with no name tag.
On Vaughn Radio.
It's a show with no name tag. Let's go.
Welcome aboard, amigos. Time for another exciting edition of your favorite English show. Well, what I hope is your favorite English show here on Vaughn Radio. It is both an honor and a pleasure to have you with us. Yesterday, there was a holiday. Most people had the day off. I did. Today I'm working, but I'm here with you guys, and that makes me happy because I'm happy. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, folks, whether you are at home today or you're away from home, enjoying a long weekend, un puente. We don't call it a bridge, by the way. I love long weekends. Gotta love them. And I never know they're coming either. Yo nunca sé que llegan. It's always my wife who says, or one of you guys, who says, hey, Alberto, Monday's a holiday. I'm like, oh, Monday's a holiday? Really? Oh, my God. Awesome. So, I mean, I have them in my calendar, but I also have so much else in my calendar. So sometimes I lose track. Pierdo la cuenta, pierdo la noción. I lose track. Se usa esto bastante en inglés, to lose track. It happens often when we lose track of time or we lose track of our expenses, de lo que gastamos. And speaking of long weekends, guys, I'm going to debut this right now, just so you guys know. My daughter, Lara, she decided to help me out. She loves to help me out in the studio. And I told her, Lara, I got to work on a radio ad for our upcoming trivia night. As you guys know, I'm hosting November 1st. And Lara was an awesome sport. Let's hear Lara on the new first ever. As far as I know, this has not been played on Vaughn Radio yet. It will in the coming weeks as we get closer to the trivia night. But let me have Lara give you all the information. Hey, Lara, do you have any plans for November 1st?
Hey, Daddy. Yeah. It's Vaughn Radio. Trivia night, baby.
Where is it taking place?
It's at Real Madrid.
What time does it start?
It's at 8:30. Get there at 8.
And who's hosting this time?
Seriously? Come on, Daddy. It's your turn.
Thank God my daughter isn't as forgetful as I am. I'm going to jot it down this time. And so should you. We'll see you for another Vaughn Radio Trivia Night at Real Madrid, hosted by yours truly, un servidor. I'll see you November 1st at 8:30 p.m. at Real Madrid for another exciting Vaughn Radio Trivia Night.
Be there or be square, amigos.
That's right. Be there or be square. If you're a square, man, you are just boring. I think you say maromo or something like this. I've heard the word muermo. I think the word's muermo. Well, basically, you're that boring guy that nobody wants to hang out with. So be there or be square. It's a holiday. It's All Saints Day. A nice round of applause for my daughter, Lara. Didn't she do a great job? And it's not just the pronunciation, guys, but the intonation, too. Like, seriously, Dad? Like, really? Now, I have to be honest. I scripted it myself, lo guionicé yo, but she read her part. In fact, we did 3 takes. But honestly, that's just me being a perfectionist. She did it well. She did it perfectly on the first take. So great job, honey. And I hope you guys will join us at the Vaughn Radio Trivia Night on November 1st. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you. And just a reminder, it's going to be horror themed. All right, well, my amigos, time for a little challenge called Pop Quiz. Come on. Quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. That's right, amigos. That's right. It's our pop quiz only on the show with no name. And I forgot to ask you guys, they just started this week. It's our brand spanking new shows. What did you think? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Vaughn Radio proudly presents 2 brand spanking new shows. You can join Ruby every weekday on her program Speak Up from 3 to 4 p.m. Speak Up is for students who are just getting started and superstars who want to go over the basics. Let Ruby guide you through the English experience on her new program Speak Up on Vaughn Radio from 3 to 4 p.m. And Frankly Speaking, hosted by Chris. This program will be on every evening from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And in Frankly Speaking, Chris Frank will make you feel like you were at the restaurant or bar with him in a totally native conversation. Learn English as you have fun with Frankly Speaking. So make sure you check out our 2 latest programs. You're going to love them. Frankly Speaking with Chris from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and Speak Up with Ruby from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. I have a feeling, I have a hunch you're going to love these new programs. Exclusively on Vaughn Radio. Don't miss them. All right, folks. Now let me know what you think. Send us your feedback. I have to be honest, I was going to listen to the programs and I haven't gotten a chance to do it. No he tenido la oportunidad, but I'm dying to give them a listen. If you can't tune in live, don't worry. You've got the Vaughn Radio app, or you can tune in via podcast. Just search for each show individually, or just search for Vaughn Radio. If you have the app, then you don't have to search for Vaughn Radio. If you don't have the app and you're looking in a podcast platform, for example, well, you might want to put Vaughn Radio Speak Up, or Frankly Speaking, Vaughn Radio, just in case. Or you can just search for Vaughn Radio and find them all. Whatever's easier. Some of you like to watch the show. Some of you like to listen to the show. Some of you can't tune in live. but you're here every day giving it all. A nice round of applause for you guys. Let's warm up. Let's warm up. Vamos a calentar motores with today's pop quiz. We're going to look at the very confusing structure, there plus to be. In Spanish is I. Not I, A-Y, H-A-Y. Right? Habrá, habrá. I know that can be a bit confusing. Well, it's confusing in English too. Why? Because it's a compound verb. It has two parts. There is. And usually when you start out simple, it's easy. Let's start simple. Vamos a empezar con eso. Hay un boli en la mesa. You can't make it easier than that. Okay? There's, I want contraction. There's a pen on the table. There's a pen on the table. Right? There is. It's pretty easy. Contracted. All right. Can you tell me there isn't? Te acabo de dar la estructura. There isn't a pen on the table. Can you ask me, is there a pen on the table? Can you ask me an indirect question with it? Do you know if there's a pen on the table? Now you know it. See what I mean? There's a pen on the table. Qué bien, qué fácil. Okay, pero lo tienes que controlar. All right, let's put it in plural. There are pens on the table. Afirmamos. There are pens on the table. No hay. There aren't any pens. Yo añado el any. Me suena raro. There aren't pens on the table. There aren't any pens on the table. Question? Are there any pens on the table? Are there any pens on the table? Indirect question. I'm not sure if there are any pens on the table. Good. There was, there were. Ya tenemos presente en singular y plural. We're warming up. All right. There was a mug on the table. Una taza de café. There was a mug on the table. Afirmamos. En pasado. Pregunta. Was there a mug on the table? There wasn't a mug on the table. Right? The negative. There wasn't. Do you know if there was a mug on the table? La pregunta indirecta. Plural. Pasado. Were there any people in your house last night? Were there any people in your house last night? ¿Cómo me dices que sí? Yes. There were 4 people in my house last night. ¿Cómo me dices que no? There weren't any people in my house, or there was nobody in my house, or there wasn't anybody. ¿Ves? Varias formas de decirlo. Y la pregunta indirecta, do you know if there was anybody in your house last night? ¿Ves cómo se puede complicar esto? Sin querer. All right. So now that we've got the basics out of the way, let's translate these together. All right, the first one. Puede que haya habido un malentendido. It's even difficult to say in Spanish. Puede que haya habido. ¿Ves? El hay, había, ahí no es tan complicado. Pero ahora sí que lo hemos complicado. Puede que haya habido un malentendido. There may have been a misunderstanding. There may have been. Great structure to know. Pero fíjate cuántas palabras van entre el there y el be. There may have been. 2 palabras. Right? There will be. El will va por el medio. O sea, se separa. There should be. Siempre va dentro. So there may have been a misunderstanding. All right. The next one. Parece haber varias versiones. There seem to be, right? Si es singular, there seems to be, e incontables. Pero esto es plural. There seem to be several versions. There seem to be. I'm not sure. There seem to be several versions. ¿Cómo me lo haces en pregunta? Do there seem to be several versions? I told you we were going to get complicated here. Do there seem to be several versions of the story? Wow. Okay. Parece haber una solución. There seems to be a solution. There seems to be a solution. Can you make it a question? Parece haber una solución? Does there seem to be a solution? Does there seem to be a solution? All right. Now that we're warmed up, it's your turn. Although I hope you guys were participating. But now, I want to see it. Here we go. Podría haber habido un accidente. Okay. Podría haber habido un accidente. Me cuesta en español también. The next one. Debería haber habido una guardia de seguridad. Okay. And the last one. ¿Habrá alguien esperándome? ¿Habrá alguien esperándome? Again, everything we're looking at right now is the verb there is, there are, there was, there were, there will be, but we're complicating it. We're putting it into other tenses. You can get these. There are specific lists at the Von Tienda where you can get these and work on these. What I'm looking at right now is called the Focus Translation List. I can tell you what's in it. Let's take a look. I mean, this is a great, great resource. I use it all the time in my classes because it's just got a lot of great exercises. And then it's got translations. Okay, so it's got exercises out the wazoo. Out the wazoo, a tutti plen. Exercises out the wazoo. But then you've got translation lists. And these translation lists focus on different concepts, such as possessive pronouns, pronouns in general, auxiliary verbs, comparatives and superlatives, make and do, say and tell. So, guys, I've got to tell you something. If you have trouble, problem areas where you're having a little bit of trouble, having a little difficulty, this is a perfect resource because you can say, estoy con el so and such que no me entero. Well, you can go over to the list and you can practice so versus such, or your comparatives and your superlatives. So the good thing about these lists, they're focused. They're focused on a specific structure and really mastering that structure. And as with all the Vaughn materials, guys, they come with audio. Very important that you repeat what you hear aloud. All right, a nice round of applause. Tons of people participating. Great job. Great job, amigos. Wonderful work. All right, let's take a look. The first one. Podría haber habido un accidente. Me cuesta la vida en español decirlo. There could have been an accident. Wow, that was close, man. There could have been an accident. And we don't say cool, we say could. Could, would, should. There could have been an accident. ¿Sabéis ponerlo en pregunta? Want to give it a bonus here? Could there have been an accident? Oof. Could there have been an accident? That's a tough one. All right, the next one was debería haber habido una guardia de seguridad. There should have been a security guard. No guard, guard. Imagínate esa palabra sin la U. There should have been a security guard. There wasn't. There should have been one. Pregunta, ¿lo sabes hacer tú? Difícil, ¿eh? Should there have been a security guard? Should there have been a security guard? That's the question. ¿Y la negación? There shouldn't have been. Y fijaos, el have lo pronuncio como of. there shouldn't have been. Ahora, muchos americanos lo pronunciarán there shouldn't como una A. Lo que no decimos es have. Lo contraemos. So it either sounds like this. You should have or you shoulda. You should have helped me. Deberías haberme ayudado. O más americano aún, you shoulda. You shoulda helped me. All right, and the last one. Great job, by the way, guys. Hey, these are not easy at all. I know it. I know it, folks. But you're doing it. Okay, the next one. Will there be anyone waiting for me? ¿Habrá alguien esperándome? And be careful, I've known a lot of people to omit the for. I've heard people say, wait me. I'm like, hang on. Wait for me. So apréndete el for con el wait como aprendes el listen con el to, right? O el look con el at. Certain words just go together. So it's better to just learn them as one sound. Look at me. It's not look at me. It's look at. Look at. Una sonida. One single sound. Look at me. Okay? Again, I can't focus enough how much I don't want you to look at the way things are spelled. I just want you to listen how we say them. And I would prefer that you parrot that. Sí, la palabra loro en inglés también es verbo. All right, well, before we go to our first commercial break, we need to take a look at a section where we listen to a famous person speaking, and you guys got to tell me what's being said. It's the Say What soundbite. Say what? What? All right. That's right, amigos. It's your Say What soundbite on the show with no name. And let's see what we've got for you today. This one's going to be pretty tough. I got to be honest with you. It's not going to be easy, but I think somebody will be able to get it after 4 listens. All right, is everybody ready? You know how this works. Grab a pen and a notebook. You should have a notebook and a pen handy at all times, even if it's just some Post-it notes, because I know it. I see it here on the show. In 1 2-hour period, we can go over hundreds and hundreds of structures, concepts. So make sure you're getting at least the stuff that you didn't know or the stuff you need to review. Either way, make the most of it, folks. This is your English class. You can make it a listening exercise or also a speaking exercise. You've got the power. You've got the power. All right, here we go with the Say What soundbite for the first time.
The people in the park didn't ask for that. In other words, you can yell fire in a crowded theater if you're on stage, but don't do it off stage. The theater is make-believe. That's where it's at. And I figured out after 4 years why I got arrested so many times.
Very interesting accent we're hearing there. I'll give you a clue. Definitely an accent that people would recognize in my neck of the woods. In my neck of the woods is in mi zona, which I think you all know where I'm from. So there's a clue. I'm not going to give you too much, but either way, as I said, I don't think it's going to be easy today. I don't think it's impossible. I think it's definitely doable, but it's on the harder side, no? Tirando más para lo duro. But I know you guys can handle it. Right now, we've got to go to a quick commercial break, amigos. I can't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun. Good news. We'll be back in just a minute with tons more program for you. More challenges up ahead. We've got homophones, Say What, Spelling Bee, Double Trouble, movies, famous birthdays, name that lyric, jokes, man. We've got a little bit of everything for you here. All right, amigos. You know how it works. We'll be right back. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name, part 2. Man, I know it's a holiday week, but man, everything's flying by this week. The minutes, the days, the hours. And before you know it, it's going to be 2024. Anybody feeling old? All right, amigos, come on in for part 2 of today's show. I'll take a look at our Say What soundbite in a moment. Also, homophones. We've got a super spelling bee today where we're going to take a look at something historic. Ooh. Something that might strike a nerve with you. To strike a nerve or to strike a chord. Tocar la fibra sensible, I think you say. Well, you'll see why. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but you know me, and you know I got a big mouth. So at some point, I may even let the cat out of the bag. You don't know how many times I've given away, soplar, I've given away the homophones or the double trouble. Me and my big mouth, como decimos. Me and my big freaking mouth. Folks, welcome back. It's time for homophones.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, it's homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And this is where we take a look at words that tend to be a bit tricky. But I have a feeling, I have a hunch that you guys are definitely going to be able to figure these out. And in fact, I think I am willing to bet that everybody's going to get it right today. Wow, I'm very confident. I believe in you guys. Don't let me down. The first word is metal in Spanish. Okay? So steel, iron, they are all types of metal, right? We also use the word with heavy. No, you say it there, pero no lo voy a decir. You thought I was going to say it, huh? So yes, it's a word I know you're all familiar with. The question is, do you know the second word? And do you know if they sound the same? The second word is to interfere, to tamper, right? Or fiddle with something. So to interfere is intrometerse. Meterse, inmiscuirse. Bueno, intrometerse, vamos. Also toquetear. No, deja de toquetear eso. So it's a good word We'll see if you're familiar with the word, and we'll see if you know if that word sounds like the word metal, such as iron, hierro, acero, steel. What are those two words, and do they sound exactly the same? Also, let me give you the Say What soundbite here for the second time. Please write down what you hear.
The people in the park didn't ask for that. In other words, you can yell fire in a crowded theater if you're on stage, but don't do it off stage. The theater is make-believe. That's where it's at. And I figured out after 4 years why I got arrested so many times.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give it to you again now. Just give me 1 second so you guys can let it sink in, asimilarlo. Okay. Going once, going twice, and I'll give it to you a third time. And this way we are caught up. Estamos actualizados, caught up. All right. Everybody ready? Here's your Say What soundbite again.
The people in the park didn't ask for that. In other words, you can yell fire in a crowded theater if you're on stage, but don't do it off stage. The theater is make-believe. That's where it's at. And I figured out after 4 years why I got arrested so many times.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. All right. Well, let's take a look at our homophones while you guys are trying to figure out what's being said there. As I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's go with a 7. It's not a 10, but it's definitely on the higher end of that scale. All right. I see we've got some people telling me the words are homophones, and other people are telling me that they're not homophones. And here I was saying that all of you were going to be right. Well, folks, you are all right. What? How is that possible? You're all right. Estáis bien. No, todos tenéis razón. You're right. Why? Well, it depends on how you pronounce this word. This is one of those words that, depending on if a Brit says it or an American, it sounds different. So the first word, metal, we say in American English, metal, heavy metal, right? Metal. Es una D, no es una. We don't say metal, we say metal, metal, heavy metal, okay? It sounds exactly the same as medalla. His medal was made of metal. His Olympic medal was made of a precious metal. But I don't want to meddle in his affairs. Pero no quiero entrometerte. So in American English, yes. Metal, medle, metal y medal. All three of those sound like metal. No metal, metal. Now, if you're British, let me try and put on my best British here. The first word is metal. It's metal. Oh, what kind of metal is that? You hear their T's much more than our T's. We say metal, they say metal. So, in British English, these words are not homophones. In American English, they are. Thus, y por eso, you are all right. Yeah. Awesome. And it's up to you. I mean, do you want to pronounce it more like a British person or more like an American? It's up to you. And who knows? Maybe you don't want to pronounce British or American. Maybe you want to sound Australian, mate. Well, hey, suit yourself, mate. Suit yourself. It's time to move on, though, to today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
That's right, amigos. That's right. It is our Spelling Bee only on the show with no name. And here we go with our Spelling Bee, the toughest, I would say, without exception, the hardest section on the show. Sometimes Say What is a little more challenging, sometimes Double Trouble, but the spelling bee is usually, man, it's OTSS. Only the strong survive. This is Darwinism at its best. All right, amigos, I'm going to give you 6 ideas, 6 words, and they all need to be capitalized. They should all start with a capital letter. All right? And as always, on the first round, I am going to be really mean. Voy a ser super borde. I don't care if you get it. It's not my problem. Hay gente así. The second time, I'm going to be like, would you like me to repeat it, sir? That guy. But first, you got to deal with the asshole sometimes. El cabrón. Hey, it's part of life. Everywhere you go. It's not like one country or one office. It's usually there's a few of them everywhere. All right, round 1. The first one is IBERIAN space PENINSULA. The second one is BAETICA. The third one is LUSITANIA. The fourth one is HISPANIA space CITERIOR. The fifth one is HISPANIA space ULTERIOR. The sixth one, HISPANIA space TARACONENSIS. Woo. All right. That was a lot over there. Well, maybe this will give you a clue.
It's often called America's national pastime. We innately identify with it. We put it on a pedestal. But most of all, we get excited about the entire enthralling experience. There's nothing like the raucous roar of the crowd when they hear the crack of the ball against the bat. Grab your jerseys and mitts as we break down baseball on today's FYI. Welcome to For Your
All right, cancel that. You should listen to the FYI episode on baseball, but I played the wrong soundbite. I labeled it wrong. It says Spain intro, but it was really the baseball intro. So let's just pretend that was the FYI intro on Spain, where Rob Grams and Mike Morton, many of my good friends, participated on that episode. We visit Spain, but not so much from the point of view or the perspective of someone who was born here, but we learn why all my Geedy friends love Spain. And if you haven't heard it, you've got to listen to it. As with every episode, there are 2 parts to it, okay? There's one that's available to everybody, to the general public. It's wherever you get your Vaughn podcasts, you can find it. And then there's a bonus one, and that's only for people in my community. I recommend you listen to both of them because you're going to hear from my amigos in both of them. And usually the bonus episode of FYI is the more teachy part. The part where I say, okay, we're looking at shopping. Let's look at some phrases you would use when you're shopping. That's usually reserved for the bonus episode. Just so you guys know, because I've had a lot of people ask me in the past, what's the bonus episode? Is it just, and I tell them, I say, well, it's extra content, more fun facts, more vocabulary, and obviously a little lesson based on each topic. So it's something that, hey, it might be for you. If not, don't worry. I love you just the way you are. All right, I'm looking at today's spelling bee. I don't think anybody got it on the first go, so I'm going to give it to you again. I know it was a tough one, but we're going to get it. I know someone's going to get it. This is round 2. The first one is IBERIAN space PENINSULA. The next one is BAETICA. The next one, LUSITANIA. The fourth one is HISPANIA space ULTERIOR. The sixth one is HISPANIA space TARRACONENSIS. There you go, my amigos. And I see we've got some people getting it now on the second go. Nice job. Show with no namers. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And these are all words that are related to the Iberian Peninsula. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason I chose this today, this history lesson, is because today in the year 409, in the year 409, the Vandals, los vándalos, you call them? The Vandals, de ahí viene vandalism, right? The Vandals and the Alans crossed the Pyrenees, and they appeared in Hispania. Not España, Hispania, right? And the interesting thing about Hispania, that was the Roman name. I'm sure many of you know this. It's your history. You know it more than I do. Richard Vaughn knows it more than all of us. So this was the Roman name for the Iberian Peninsula and its provinces. And it was split up in different regions. You had Hispania Ulterior, which I don't have to explain that. That's southern Spain, right? Then you had Hispania Baetica. Does that ring a bell? Betica, Betis, El Betis. Yes, that's the region. That's the south, but the other side. So the side that's like Murcia, Almeria, Malaga, all of that is Hispania Ulterior. Then to the west of that, you had Hispania Baetica, which, again, if you think about it, it makes sense. Above that, you had the Hispania Lusitania. The Hispania Lusitania. Yeah, Lusitania. And then you had above that, and to the east, you had Hispania Tarraconensis. I've never heard these terms before in my life, but pretty interesting. Hispania Tarraconensis. And that looks like the region that was like Zaragoza up north, maybe. I think it looks like where the Pyrenees were, some of the Pyrenees as well. And then you had Hispania Citerior, which was, I don't know where Madrid is on here, but it looks like Madrid was in a little bit in each one. Again, don't quote me. I'm no historian here, but I thought it was quite interesting. And so Hispania Ulterior was eventually divided into two provinces, Baetica and Lusitania, right? So see, I didn't know that either. The thing about Spain is, and this is what everybody said in the episode on Spain, in the episodes on Spain, they said not only does it have a rich culture, rich history, but also the food. I mean, everything has a story behind it. We say, lo decimos con un sitio, pero, hombre, se puede aplicar.
If these walls could talk, si pudiesen hablar, estos muros, right? The stories they would tell. I always love looking at old school pictures of Madrid. I follow a lot of accounts on social media where I can see like Madrid back in, the turn of the century, and it's mind blowing. I can't even begin to imagine over here, but Hispania, it was called, from 218 BC to 472. And the emperor was Trajan, I guess. Trajan, Hadrian, and Theodosius the First were the ones who were ruling the Roman Senate at that time. They were the Roman rulers. And it was preceded by Carthaginian Iberia. And it was succeeded, para verlo, succeeded by the Visigothic kingdom and the kingdom of the Suebi Spania. See, I had no idea. As I said, if you want to learn more about Spain, especially from our point of view, listen to those FYI episodes on Hispania. All right, my amigos, time to move on, though. We've got to take a look at another section. It's Double Trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. It's Double Trouble, only on the Show with No Name. And you know what I'm going to do again? I haven't done it in a while, and it's just because I get a lot of information from the stuff, emails. I have a community, as I told you guys. So all day I'm in contact with people, and I love that. I love that about what I do. I'm not only creating content, but I'm also in touch with you guys. So I decided I'm going to open it up again. If you guys want to suggest your own double troubles, that, ones that you guys find or come up with when you're watching a movie or reading a book, I want you to send them to me. Okay? You can send them to me wherever. Now, the only thing I recommend, though, is don't send them to me on Facebook. I know myself, and I'm not good at it. I'm not good. So the best place is the same place you send the audio notes to. That's the best place, to be honest. Send any suggestions for any section. You can send them to my email address. It's always open. Well, email addresses don't close, no? But you can send it to aalonso@grupovon.com. And of course, if I end up using one of your double troubles or some of your jokes, well, I will give you credit, as always. Because remember, this show is produced by me, but it's made by all of us. Okay, I produce it, I come up with the content, but it's all of us together who are here for 2 hours, getting this ship off the ground, no? Haciendo que vuela. So thank you for all your effort. Yeah. Admirable, admirable. All right, here we go, my amigos. Here's your double trouble. You have to use the same word twice. And I'll tell you something. Sometimes they're a bit forced, rebuscados, right? Because I'm like, ¿cómo uso estas dos palabras? But this today sounds like something I would actually say. This is something I would say to a friend, and I've probably said these things to a friend a million times. So this is actually a pretty natural sentence, right? It's not one of these sentences where you're like, el hombre se colgó del tal para que, what? No. But hey, if it helps you remember it, again, if the sentences are a bit absurd, who cares? You don't have to use it as a sentence. You're using it to associate the two words. Si te acuerdas de la frase, el pato se tuvo que agachar,
you're never going to forget that the duck had to duck. Like you got it. You got the visual in your head, and you'll never forget it as long as you live. All right, here we go. Me apetecía quedar, pero me dejaste tirado, plantado. Right? Me diste plantón. So me apetecía quedar, pero me dejaste tirado. O sea, que al final no cumpliste. Me apetecía quedar, pero me dejaste tirado. That is your double trouble. It's a totally native sentence, and it's two phrasal verbs, two collocations that we use pretty frequently, amigos. Well, right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But don't fret. Don't worry. We're going to be right back with the third part of today's show. We've got to listen to our Say What soundbite. What else have we got to do? Movies. Oh my God, yeah, movies, famous birthdays, name that lyric, jokes. We've got a lot to do, and we've only got about another hour to do it, amigos. So I hope you'll join us after this quick commercial break. Grab a cup of Joe, una taza de café. Grab a spot of tea if you're more British. Or just take a pee. A lo mejor tienes que orinar. Whatever you have to do it quick. Because we'll be back with tons more Show with No Name. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the Show with No Name on Vaughn Radio. This is part 3 of today's show. And I've got a little surprise in store for you guys. That's right. Remember how I told you guys you gotta listen to both episodes of FYI on Spain? Well, I've decided to make the bonus episode available here today exclusively for Show with No Namers. So today, you're going to get the bonus episode with my buddies. You're going to hear not just from me, but also from my buddies. And we're going to talk all about this country we love and we call home. As many of you know, I love Spain. I call it home. I've always loved Spain. So give it a listen. If you haven't listened to the first part, give it a listen. If you haven't listened to the second part, well, maybe it's because you're not in my community. Well, don't worry. For being a Show with No Namer, you're going to get it today. I always say this. Being a Show with No Namer and an FYIer has its benefits. Its perks. Perks, benefits. It's another way to say beneficios. Y cuidado, beneficios de dinero, or it's a profit, right? Earnings, profit. Careful with those false friends over there. All right, my amigos, we've got to listen to our well, first let's do this. Let me because if not I get confused. Let's listen to the Say What soundbite another time right now. And this will be the fourth time. So hopefully somebody will be able to get it. Good luck. It's not easy today.
The people in the park didn't ask for that. In other words, you can yell fire in a crowded theater if you're on stage, but don't do it off stage. The theater is make-believe. That's where it's at. And I figured out after 4 years why I got arrested so many times.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. That is your Say What soundbite for the fourth time. At the end of this third section now, we'll give it a listen and we'll talk about who it is, the accent, and all that jazz. But now we've got to check out our double trouble. I see we've got a lot of people participating. I didn't think it was that easy. Excuse me. I didn't think it was that difficult. You know, I thought it was pretty easy, especially if we're going to compare it to the Say What soundbite today. All right, let's see what you guys came up with. The translation was, me apetecía quedar, pero me dejaste tirado. And it was, I felt like hanging out. Now, you can also say hanging, los dos. I felt like hanging out. Or I felt like hanging. En el contexto se sabe que no estás diciendo de que colgar de algún sitio, unless maybe you're doing gymnastics. But in a normal conversation, I felt like hanging. Me apeteció quedar. Or hanging out. O sea, lo que viene siendo el out es opcional. But you left me hanging. And to leave somebody hanging means dejarles colgando, si lo piensas, tirado, same idea. You left me hanging. And it's a really interesting verb. All right, let me ask you guys. Is the verb hang regular or irregular? The verb hang, regular or irregular? It is both. That's right. So when we're talking about people, okay, like back in the Wild West, you know, the gallows pole, donde colgaban a la gente, the gallows pole. Well, what happened was we would say he was hanged. He will be hanged this afternoon, right, at sundown. But when we use it, when we talk about our clothes or a jacket, we say hung. So it's interesting. It's both. It's hang, hanged, hanged, if we're talking about a person, which isn't as common. Yo lo que recomiendo es aprendete el irregular. Porque ¿cuántas veces hablamos de colgar a alguien? Well, if we were talking about You know, those wars, the Vandals, the Visigoths. Well, but normally, like I wouldn't say I hanged with my friends yesterday. I say I hung with my friends yesterday. I hung out with my friends yesterday. So the translation, I felt like hanging or hanging out, but man, you left me hanging. Me dejaste tirado, right? And we also do that too. If somebody's like, hey man, give me 5. You're like, man, you left me hanging. No, como que, hola, no me cumpliste there. You left me hanging. Also, high and dry. You know that one? Does that sound familiar? Any Radiohead fans in the house? Don't leave me high. Don't leave me dry. To leave somebody high and dry is to leave them hanging high and dry. Pero se usa tanto que podemos eliminar la parte de colgar. You left me high and dry, alto y seco, sin nada. And there's another one that is one I remember similar, okay? And it's to blow somebody off. And to blow somebody off es rechazar, faltar, no cumplir, no ir, no dejar tirado. And I remember I used this one. I was talking to a British friend of mine, a teacher, and I told him, dude, we were going to have lunch yesterday and you blew me off. And he's like, I did. I don't remember blowing you off. And I realized to blow somebody off in British English is fellatio. It's oral sex. And to blow somebody off in my country is, hey, what happened yesterday? You had a doctor's appointment. You blew it off. Faltaste. No cumpliste. So careful, not all words are universal. All right, but that's why we love playing with words like we do here on the Double Trouble section. But we've got to move on, my amigos. We've got a lot to do, and we're taking it to the movies. Name that movie. That's right, amigos. It's Name That Movie, only on the Show with No Name. And let's take a look at this flick and see if anybody's familiar with it. If you're not, it's okay. The important thing is that we learn from it, right? That we can extract some good English from it. If it's structures or grammar, if it's vocabulary, but we'll be able to get something good. I'm sure of it. In fact, I don't choose a movie or a scene unless I see that there's some meaty content. Meaty, you say the same thing, con chicha, no? Con carne. Meaty, juicy content. All right, here's your trailer. All right. An American teenager learns that her father is a wealthy British politician running for office. Although she is eager to find him, she realizes it could cause a scandal and could cost him the election. All right, let's see my movie buddies over here. An American, fijaos como lo junto, Ana. An American, no digo an American, an American. It's an American teenager learns that her father, es como nosotros nos encanta juntar las cosas. An American teenager learns that her father, todo junto ahí, is a wealthy, we looked at last week, we looked at synonyms of the word rich, a wealthy British politician running for office. Now, politician is the person, politics is the field they work in, all right? He's a politician, he works in politics. A wealthy British politician running for office, and to run for office es presentarte para candidato. He's running for office. So you would say, he's running for president. He's running for treasurer. Se está presentando a las elecciones. Although she is eager to find him, aunque tiene muchas ganas de encontrarle, es entusiasta para encontrarle, she realizes it could cause a scandal and cost him the election. Whoa. That sounds like, sounds like something that could happen today. All right, the movie is What a Girl Wants, What a Girl Needs, What a Girl Wants. It's the movie What a Girl Wants. Yes, the title is a reference to a Christina Aguilera song, but the song's not in the movie, which is weird because you would think, the song inspired you to write a movie and then you don't put the song in the movie. I'm sure it had something to do with rights, los derechos. Well, What a Girl Wants. It's a movie that came out in the year 2003. I remember it. It stars Amanda Burns, Colin Firth, and Kelly Preston. And I remember it being pretty popular. On IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, it has a 5.8 out of 10, which is not too bad, I gotta say. For a movie that's, seen its day, it's one of those that continues to entertain people. What else? It also, an interesting fun fact about the movie, it opened during the war with Iraq. If you remember, during that time, there was the Iraq War. And Warner Brothers, the production and distribution company, decided to change the poster art. Now, I got to be honest, this is absurd. When I read this, I shared it with you just to show you how absurd it is, in my opinion. And basically, the poster art, the original artwork, was Amanda Bynes, and she was showing a peace sign with her fingers, haciendo el símbolo de paz. And they changed it. They airbrushed. To airbrush es hacer con un pintar, quitándolo, pintando. With an airbrush, they removed the peace symbol. That's pretty crazy because you're thinking, what? And the studio didn't want anyone to think that the movie was anti-war, que iba en contra de la guerra. I don't know about you, but that's pretty lame. ¿Cómo se dice lame en español? That is totally lame. That's called, bowing down to your masters. Eso es, arrodillarte a tu amo. Débil, it's, it's débil. It's not really, we should take the peace sign out. We don't want anybody to think that we're against the Iraq war. What? This is a movie about teenagers and politicians and oh man. So it just goes to show how much of Hollywood is manipulated. And I love how my favorite thing is that Hollywood, they act like they're woke, like, oh, we include everybody, we want, all kinds of people. We don't care. It's all good. Everybody's welcome. And then they release the movies in China and they don't put the black actors on there. Or these brands, Mercedes-Benz, or I'm using them as an example, Volkswagen, whatever. And Pride Month, el mes del orgullo. Their USA account has the pride flag. Their Spanish account has the pride flag. Why doesn't their Saudi Arabia account have the pride flag? What happened, guys? Is it fake? Are you really not? You're only interested in diversity in countries that are ready for it? They got caught. How did you see that? They airbrushed, usando la misma palabra que antes, black characters out of movie posters in China. I believe I read it was in China. So, but then on the other hand, they're like, we want to hire actors from every race and every nationality, but we won't promote them in countries where they're not welcome. What? That is what I call the epitome, personificación, the epitome of fake, falso. But Hollywood has never been known for being a place where reality where there's some kind of hold on reality. It's actually La La Land for a reason. Let's take a look at the scene that I've chosen here. Clarissa says, oh, lovely, very you, very you. Te queda bien, es tu estilo. It's very you. So Henry asked us to give you a few pointers, didn't he? Pointers, consejos. It's another way of saying tips. Well, pointer number one, go home. Vete a casa. Mother and I belong here, and it's quite clear you just don't fit in. Tú no eres. Tú no encajas. You don't fit in. You stand out or you stick out. Si queremos decirlo en negativo, you stick out like a sore thumb. And pointer number two, consejo número dos, while you're packing, mientras estás haciendo la maleta, while you're packing, keep your grimy little Yankee paws off Armistead Stewart. And your paws are what dogs have, las patas. Pero a veces lo decimos, como vosotros decís, mira, tienes la pata coja. Same thing. We say, mis patas, your paws are dirty. Obviously, I have hands, not paws, pero en plan broma. And grimy is dirty, mugriento. Okay? So let me see where I was. Keep your grimy little Yankee paws off Armistead Stewart. He's mine. Es mío. And Daphne answers, if you take your nose out of the air for 1 second, you'll see your designer. I'm vintage. Okay? And what she's saying here is that she's stuck up. And if you're stuck up, you're snobby. Vas con la nariz. Your nose, piénsalo, your nose is stuck up in the air. Lo tienes siempre en el aire, tu nariz, mirando hacia los demás como con aire de yo soy mejor. Don't be stuck up, conceited, creer que tú eres mejor que los demás. So he goes, if you take your nose out of the air for 1 second, you'll see your designer. I'm vintage. No es vintage. We say vintage. Rima con bridge. You've got a mansion. I've got a 5-floor walk-up. Tú tienes mansión. Yo tengo 5 plantas sin ascensor. A 5-floor walk-up, que yo viví en uno en Nueva York. You're a snotty little Miss Cranky Pants. Eres una mocosa, ¿no? Niñata. Miss Cranky Pants. Cranky como gruñona. And I go with the flow. Yo me dejo llevar. So why would you ever think for 1 second that I'd ever have the same taste in guys? So here's a little pointer for you. Un consejito para ti. Get over yourself. Recupérate de ti mismo. Okay? Supérate. Get over your... Me encanta esa en inglés. Buen insulto. Te crees lo mejor. Get over yourself. Supérate a ti mismo. Get over yourself and stop trying to be my daddy's little girl because I'm not going anywhere. So there you go, folks. A little misunderstanding, or I would say definitely a bitter battle. The movie is What a Girl Wants. And folks, we got to move on. It's time for famous birthday trivia. All right, amigos. It's famous birthdays only on the show with no name. And let's see if you know who's celebrating a birthday today. The first person was born in 1962. What did she do? What? What did she do? ¿A qué se dedicaba? Well, she was an actress. And why isn't she an actress now? She passed. She died. That's right. But she's been in many movies. Twins, Jerry Maguire, The Experts, Space Camp, What a Girl Wants. And, well, at the age of 57, she died at her home in Florida, 2 years after being diagnosed with breast cancer. And, well, her husband was John Travolta. So you probably know him, obviously. And his wife was very famous, but she died extremely young, 57 years old. Number 2, this guy is the singer of Van Halen. Not the original one. That's David Lee Roth. This guy took over after David Lee Roth, and also a businessman. He has his own tequila company called Cabo Wabo Tequila, and he also has a restaurant chain in Baja California. So this guy's a party animal. He's not just the lead singer of Van Halen, but he lives the life of a rock star. And before Van Halen, he'd been performing as a solo artist for years. So definitely royalty in the music world. And last but not least, 1925 today, an American comedian and actor. He was known for his counterculture views. He was even on trial and arrested many times for obscenity. And he is the kind of guy I like. You know me, I like edgy comedians. Cómicos que no son refinados, que dicen las cosas como son. Well, this guy basically inspired my favorite comedians, George Carlin, Richard Pryor. And he was just, man, a social critic. He had a lot to say. He wasn't just cracking jokes. All right, and today's famous birthdays are Kelly Preston. Number 2, Sammy Hagar from Van Halen. And number 3, Lenny Bruce, comedian Lenny Bruce, who was today's Say What soundbite, which was really difficult, but a couple people pulled it off. And he's talking about, well, basically that he was seeing these mimes in the park. This troupe of mimes que no hacen sonidos. And they were like doing these sexual poses and things like that. And like kind of, they were kind of pretending they were having sex. And he says, the people in the park didn't ask for that. La gente en el parque no estaba buscando eso, no pedía eso. In other words, he says, you can yell fire in a crowded theater. O sea, puedes gritar incendio in a crowded theater. But if you're on stage, don't do it off stage. O sea, si estás en el público, la diferencia es contexto, es lo que viene a decir. If you're on stage, you can say fire, and it's part of the show. If you're in the audience and you say fire, it's over. There's going to be a stampede to get the hell out of there. So that's what he's saying. And that's almost, if you think about today, a lot of the controversy around, the drag queens reading stories to children and doing events with children. I don't want to give my opinion, but I think it's the same opinion I would have on any adult entertainment. No adult entertainment in front of children ever, right? I'm not saying that there shouldn't be burlesque shows. I've been to so many drag queen shows, but there were never any children allowed in. There was alcohol. There was, they were doing sexual things. So it's not about drag queens. It's about any sexual performances should not be done in front of children. But it's weird that we have to reiterate that. It's weird that people want to perform in front of children. Why? I get that you want to perform in front of adults, but children? That's weird. That's weird stuff. So he's pertinent. I mean, this is a guy who was a comedian a long time ago. And what he's saying is still, hey, you guys can do it. But so he goes, the theater is make-believe. Es un invento. Es todo falso. And that's where it's at. He goes, and then I figured out after 4 years why I got arrested so many times. So let's hear comedian Lenny Bruce, who really was arrested many times for obscenity.
The people in the park didn't ask for that. In other words, you can yell fire in a crowded theater if you're on stage, but don't do it off stage. The theater is make-believe. That's where it's at. And I figured out after 4 years why I got arrested so many times.
All right, there you go, folks. Lenny Bruce. We're going to take a quick break right now. And when we come back, folks, you're going to hear the bonus episode of FYI on Spain. It's exclusive for people in my community, but today I'm going to make it a little special surprise for my show with no namers for all your effort. So, if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around.
This is the bonus part of today's FYI on stunning Spain. And what an amazing country it is. I know it's popular to bash Spain. I do the same. Bash is kind of like to insult, to put down. And why? Well, that's part of what we do. When you live somewhere, you look at the good and the bad. What could my country improve on? And if we're doing that as a people, as a society, well, I think our country is always going to be going in the right direction. But believe me, it's really easy to look at the negative things. And when I remember when I moved here, I used to tell people, oh, Spain is awesome. And people would say, oh, yeah, but the unemployment and this. And they would focus on the negative. And I understand it. Believe me, you could look at the United States in two ways. You can say the United States is a major world power, that, the industrial, you can say a lot of positive things about the United States. But there's another side to the coin. And here, well, I decided, since a lot of my students would say, oh, our national team stinks, la selección. This was before they won the World Cup. Well, I'm here to celebrate Spain. We all know the things that are wrong with Spain, and hopefully us future generations are working on switching it up. And to switch it up is hacer un cambiazo. But one thing we are not willing to switch up is our love of festivals. We are festival goers in Spain. And I'm not just talking about music festivals like BBK or these, Sonic Sound. I don't even know the name of all the festivals there are here. But I'm talking about the actual festivals that are holidays, that are celebrating a saint or a certain town. The most popular one to Americans, I have to say, is the running of the bulls, which for us, that's like on everybody's bucket list. And I hate to say it, but an American gets gored. At least one American gets gored every year by a bull. So it's not on my bucket list. I'll take your word for it. And I guarantee most Americans, if you say, do you want to go to San Fermin? They'll say, I don't know what that is. But if you say, do you want to run with the bulls? They'll be like, yes, absolutely. So it's funny. We call it the running of the bulls. It's a 9-day festival which takes place in Pamplona. There's a place that's on my bucket list. No, not during the festival. In fact, I like going to Sevilla, but not during Easter week. Even though I've been, I think it's different. You got to go and you got to see the city, not during a festival time, but in its everyday ambiance, in its everyday environment. I mean, I would be the first one to go to the Tomatina or any of these festivals, Fallas. And now I'm like, when is it? Okay, I'll make sure I don't go to Valencia during those dates. Now, the good thing is I've done it already. I checked it off my list, but I avoid crowds in general. But if you want to party, I mean, what do you want to do? You want to run with bulls? You're crazy? Go for it. Go for it. Just remember this, that the people in Pamplona, they train for this. They're not drinking alcohol all night. They're taking taken it very, very seriously. Just like the world's biggest food fight. Yeah, that's right. We used to have food fights in school in the cafeteria, and then the teachers would get really upset. But here, you've got the biggest food fight in the world called La Tomatina. And this started in 1945 when some guy started tossing tomatoes at his friends. Wow. I love it. Now, this is an interesting thing I didn't know. Maybe you guys are aware, but it was banned in the 1950s. And finally, they reinstated this holiday, La Tomatina, in 1957 because there was public outrage. You know, the locals, the residents of that area were like, wait, you can't take away our festival. And they even buried a tomato in a coffin. Enterraron un tomate en un ataúd. So we take our tomatoes seriously. And that's one I haven't been to, the Tomatina. Another popular festival, I said Fallas before, in Valencia, which is absolutely amazing with all the fires that they light, but also in Tarragona, they have the Concurs de Castells Festival. And this is in October, where participants build human towers. I know you guys know this, but a lot of Americans, they know about it. They just don't know what it's called. And I remember seeing images of this. I mean, every year in the United States on mainstream media, they'll show the Tomatina, or they'll show the Concurs de Castells, or they'll show Las Fallas. But I don't think anybody can really grasp it, entenderlo del todo, until you really go and experience these festivals. Because along with each festival comes a specific wine or a specific food that's eaten during that festival. So it's not just about getting drunk and partying, but there's a lot of tradition involved. And I think that is absolutely amazing. But make no bones about it, no te equivoques, even though we like to party and we consider ourselves party animals here in Spain, we don't take it too far. We manage to take care of ourselves and to get a good night's sleep and really work on that life balance that I think we're looking for all our lives. So it doesn't affect our lifespan, all this partying. No. Our life expectancy here in Spain is an average of 82 years old. That's 79 for men and 85 for women. That is one of the highest life expectancies in the world, but we take care of ourselves as well. Other countries with a high life expectancy are Switzerland, Italy, and Japan. And speaking of party animals, I'm thinking about my buddy Rob. My buddy Rob, who loves to party, and he's also an artist, which we're going to talk about artists and athletes from Spain right after we hear from Rob. So I thought it was appropriate to put him between partying and artists because he's a partying artist. If you haven't seen his work, it's Professional Bohemian, Pro Bo. You can follow him also as Rob Grams. He's a great friend of mine. He's from Yorkshire, from the north of England, and he's been living in Spain for a long time. And this is what he said when I asked his opinion on Spain.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm a native English speaker from Yorkshire in England, and I currently live in Madrid, Spain. Now, I think my favorite thing about Spain, the thing I love the most about Spain, without a doubt, being from England, particularly the north of England, is the weather, without any doubt. And I think the weather really, in a very real sense, affects our mood. You know, is that why British people have this reputation for being miserable and grumpy all the time? And why Spanish people have this amazing reputation for being joyful, happy, relaxed people? I think maybe more than just a little bit of that reputation is earned thanks to the beautiful Spanish sun.
Awesome. Great stuff. Thank you so much, Rob. And that's something that Rob said, something came to mind, to have a sunny disposition. So yeah, the weather is sunny, but the people are sunny too. And we say that a lot. To have a sunny disposition is you're cheerful, you're happy. I think the word in Spanish is risueño. That sun reflects onto our skin. And again, it makes a huge smile on our face, at least mine. There's something about the sun warming your face, even on a December morning. And I don't think I've experienced that in the United States, at least not in New York. what I'm getting at is that Spanish sun could warm any winter day. And there's that parallel that Brendan said before. He said that people here are warm. What does the sun do? It warms you. Es cálido, te calienta. So I believe there's a direct correlation between what people are like, como es la gente, and that Spanish sun. As I said, we're going to talk about some artists. Spain has produced some of the most amazing artists ever. El Greco, Velázquez. I know it's Velázquez, but we say Velázquez. Hey, esto es un podcast en inglés, ¿no? Goya, Salvador Dali, Pablo Picasso. These are some of the greatest painters, sculptors that the world has ever seen. And I'm not even talking about musicians. That's another kind of artists. Rafael, Paco de Lucia. Oh my God. Camarón de la Isla. Jumbo Island Shrimp. Okay, no se traduce así. Camarón de la Isla. So Spain has given us so much as far as painting, as far as the singing arts, the performing arts, and even written. Hello? Don Quixote? Miguel de Cervantes? Come on, it's widely considered to be the world's first modern novel. Now, some people will say that there was something by Lady Murasaki, The Tale of Genji, which some people say was the first novel. But other people say it was Miguel de Cervantes and his book Don Quixote, which came out in 1605. At least one thing they agree on, it's the first modern novel. And don't get me started on Garcia Lorca and all the amazing writers to come from Spain. So Spain is a place where artists thrive. And to thrive is viven de aquí, ¿no? To thrive, they enjoy it, they live off it. They prosper, to thrive. It's the perfect environment. Think of all the stuff that happened historically, all the different people, cultures, customs, and well, you're going to get some inspired people. And not just in the arts, as far as sports is concerned. I mean, from 2008 to 2013, the Spanish national football team was named FIFA Team of the Year. I mean, that is a long time. That's a big, long winning streak. A winning streak es una racha donde ganas. So obviously a losing streak es una racha perdedora. And I know when I moved to Spain, I said, hey, do you want to go see the Spanish national team? And my friends were like, no, they never win anything. Well, in 2010, they won their first World Cup. And I will never forget the streets of Madrid. I will never forget the energy when the team came down the Gran Via. And I remember watching it. I was at a friend's hostel. He had a hostel, and there was a balcony overlooking the Gran Via. And I don't think I had ever seen Spain, a festive country. I don't think I've ever seen this country so festive. It was memorable, to say the least. I think it's one of those things that I'll never forget as long as I live. When we won the World Cup and the Euro Cup, I don't have to tell you, the Spanish national team was not only the best in my opinion, but according to FIFA, from 2008 to 2013, there was no better group of footballers in the world. And I know we're talking about football, or as we call it, soccer. And I know that is the king here in Spain. But don't forget about Rafa Nadal. I mean, we don't want to leave out this master, or Fernando Alonso, plus our handball. I mean, we have, I believe, in the last 20 years, we've had a golden age in sports. I feel like we were just winning everything everywhere. So let me ask you this. Is there anything Spaniards are not good at? The arts, writing, singing, instruments, sports, cooking. I didn't even get into that. We're going to get into gastronomy in a little bit. You know I'm saving the best for last. Another place where we kick everybody's butt, donde le ganamos a todos, is the country with the most bars. Now, I know you would think Ireland was the country with the most bars. I should have said in the European Union. I don't know if it's the country with the most bars in the world. But in the European Union, Ireland is not the country with the most bars and pubs. No, no, no. That is Spain. Spain has the highest number of drinking holes. I told you the word watering holes before. Anybody want to guess how many pubs, bars, and nightclubs there are in Spain? Now, the numbers are down right now due to the, I don't even want to say the word, but the last 2 years that we've been through. But at the time of the recording of this podcast, there are 169,063 pubs in Spain. Pubs, bars, and nightclubs. Unbelievable. We beat you, Ireland. Sorry. Well, some of the typical drinks we'll talk about. The funny thing is the misconception that everybody drinks sangria. I don't know anybody who drinks sangria. I know a lot of people who drink tinto de verano, but I don't know anyone who drinks sangria. Do you want to know which one my favorite is? Oh, man, rebujito. Hands down, sin lugar a duda. Rebujito. I love that stuff. The only thing is, after one or two, I get a little bit tipsy, un poco piripi. But I guess that's the idea when you're down in Malaga celebrating La Feria de Malaga, or you're in Seville on Easter week. I mean, when in Rome, do as the Romans. And in fact, we're going to hear from my friend Sean now, who loves Spain so much. When he settled here from San Francisco, he got married, he had 2 kids, and well, he's been living here and working here for so long. I can't even imagine him living in the United States, but he loves this country. And that was one of the things he pointed out when I asked him. I said, well, what is something that makes Spain interesting to you? And I must say, I agree with him. Let's hear what he has to say. It has to do with the drinking age and what we would call forbidden fruit. This is my friend Sean from San Francisco.
Hello, fans of Alberto. Alberto has asked me to give a brief summary of why I like Spain. And I'll touch on one subject that I found very interesting, was around the drinking culture. Coming from California, you're not allowed to drink until you're 21 years of age. However, in Spain, it's quite different. You're taught to drink at a younger age in control. Growing up, it was quite common to go to one bar and stay there until 1:30 and drink as much as you can because the bar closes at 2. But when I got to Spain and saw the drinking habits here, where you go to a bar, you drink a little caña, have a little plate of food, and you get up and then you walk to the next bar. It's because you have all night to do it. And this whole different change where you drink to enjoy, not drink to destroy, really opened my eyes a lot about the Spanish culture. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things I've really noticed. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Sean. Sean, he loves it here so much. As I said, he's like me. We're never looking back. Nunca miramos hacia atrás. Yeah, sure. We go visit our country. We miss our friends and families there. We even miss the country. But we're doing okay here in Spain. We are happy living here. And that's something I noticed when I was a kid as well. The drinking age. I feel like in the United States, by having such a high drinking age, 21, you made it taboo. It was forbidden fruit. So when we got alcohol, it was so much more illegal and we felt like we were living on the edge. Whereas in Spain, I saw my friends enjoying, they would drink, but they would enjoy it responsibly. So I think that's something Spain got right. Don't make alcohol a taboo. In fact, when I was a kid, I remember it was 16. The drinking age was 16. So I remember having calimochos when I was 14. But again, I didn't see as much alcoholism as I see in the United States. So I feel like you guys really know how to party, how to live, how to eat, drink, do it all. But you really know how to get it done in moderation. And really, that's the key. You can do everything in this world if you do it in moderation. Now, I wish somebody would have told me this when I first discovered Spanish food, because me, food, Spanish food, moderation, those words don't go in the same sentence. Let's take a look at some of the food that comes from Spain. Obviously, some of the best chefs in the world are from Spain. We've got Jose Andres, Ferran Adrià. I mean, we could just do an episode on Spanish chefs. The list is endless. But some of our key ingredients that you'll find in our cuisine is olive oil. Obviously, it's the first thing that popped into my mind, having a family from Almeria, from Andalusia, which is where most of the olives are produced. In fact, 44% of the world's olive oil is produced by Spain. That's more than double what Italy produces. But for some reason in the United States, we associate olive oil with the Italians. I guess they're just better at marketing. Another thing we're famous for is our wine. And I know a lot of people think Rioja, Ribera, but the white wines as well, right? The vermouths, the brandies. I mean, Spain, you really have a wide range of alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. I love the liqueurs that somebody gives you after you've eaten in a restaurant. I mean, these are all homemade things. Well, sometimes you get them out of a bottle, but crema de orujo, all of this stuff, it is really a traditional drink, and it seems like it has a special meaning to it. You know, we couldn't talk about Spain without talking about jamón. Oh, man, I love this stuff. And you know what we call it in the States? Prosciutto. Yeah, why? There's the Italians again with their wonderful marketing department. So when we think of, I know it's not the same thing. Don't crucify me here, guys. But in the United States, they don't know the difference between something that's smoked, or they just know that it's that ham that comes from Europe. But a lot of times they sell it as prosciutto. And in fact, it is prosciutto. Now that's changing because now Spain is bringing jamón and exporting it all around the world. But my fear is that once people discover this amazing delicacy, we're not going to be able to make enough. I mean, I eat probably a leg a week. Okay, I'm exaggerating, not that much. Another one, paella. And that's funny too, because my idea of a traditional paella is very different than the one I had when I went to Valencia. So even, my ideas were misconceptions as an American/Spanish person growing up here in the summers. Tortilla, which if you say tortilla in the United States, people are going to think about Mexican tortillas, flour tortillas. So you would have to clarify. I'm talking about a Spanish omelet with potato in it. Oh, and it seems like such a simple dish, but how hard is it to make a tortilla like your mother or your grandmother does? Virtually impossible. Ooh, I think of my grandmother a lot now when I think of gazpacho and salmorejo. Is anybody else's mouth watering right now? Maybe this is why I left the food until the end. Because I knew I would end up eating halfway through the episode. I mean, what do you want? Fresh fruit, fresh vegetables? We're the greenhouse of Europe. El invernadero de Europa, especially down in Almeria. Some of the greatest tomatoes, peppers. I didn't even get into seafood. We've got seafood from the north, Vigo, Galicia, that area, amazing, very different than the seafood in the south. And it's all amazing. You can literally eat your way around Spain. Oh, and don't forget about churros con chocolate. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. All of these things are typical Spanish meals. Well, did you know that oranges, avocados, cacao, which is what they use to make chocolate, potatoes, and sugar, those are all Spanish ingredients too? Not really. I don't mean that they originated from Spain. But these were ingredients that the Europeans were not familiar with until the 15th century, until Spain brought these ingredients back to Europe. And then they became popular. So technically, aside from tortilla, paella, jamón, the world, or Europe, I should say, has Spain to thank for oranges, avocados, chocolate, potatoes, and sugar. Wow. Some other firsts in Spain. The first stapler. Yeah, grapadora. Did you know that? It was in the Basque country. It was made in the 18th century as a present for King Louis. Yeah, he was one of the French kings, King Louis. And every staple, so the stapler is the device, the staples are what go in it. Every staple was apparently engraved. That means it was carved, engraved with Louis's royal emblem. That's pretty cool, huh? It wasn't just a stapler, it was a royal stapler. I can't imagine living without staplers. I have a stapler right next to me as I record. Another thing that came from Spain, the astronaut spacesuit. Are you serious? That's right, in 1935. The mop and bucket in 1956. So the world has a lot to thank Spain for. Not just chocolate and oranges, but mops and buckets, staplers, spacesuits, the quill pen. The quill pen. Now, this is the old school pen. This was invented around the 6th century in Seville, in Spain. So as you can see, there are a lot of firsts. Some of these I knew. I knew about the mop and bucket, but I didn't know about the stapler, and I didn't know about the quill pen. You know what? I think it's time to hear from another one of my friends. This is my friend Mike. He's from North Carolina. He lives in Holland right now, and he lived and worked in Spain for 8 years. He's lived all over Spain, so I think he might be able to give us a really good general idea of what Spain means to him. This is my buddy Mike Morton. Let's hear from him.
Hey, Alberto. So what do I love about Spain? When I lived there for 8 years, I did travel a lot, and I really love the how diverse the nature is. You know, like in the south, you've got Sierra Nevada mountains, beautiful beaches, to the Pyrenees in the north and the Iberic Islands. It's just so I love the nature. I love that the Spanish attitude. They really, the love for living, like they say work to live and not live to work, like often people do in America, where it's just working is priority and then you live when you can. But I like the Spanish contrast to that. Of course, the food, pinchos up north, pincho de tortilla, jamon serrano. And finally, being from the Sunshine State, it's Florida, and now I'm living in Amsterdam for so long, I really find that I often miss the sun in Spain, because even in the winter, often you get it's cold at night, but you get really nice sunny days. Que viva España!
As you can see, all my friends had one thing that they said in common. Spain is an amazing place where people love life, a diverse place full of contrasts, and that is awesome. I am so happy to live in this amazing place, and I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of FYI.